All right, I'm gonna do a fire badger. Fire badger. Yeah, all the games that I'm doing are going in the guide that are the ones I'm playing on this account. I think the guide's already up to like 19 games. Okay, we have Hounds and Sabers. Hounds and Sabers is our opponent. He's cost control. We're Mustangs. So here's the cool thing. Like, when you see Mustang as one of your units, Mustang's biggest downside, as we just talked about last game, is armor. And Hounds have the ability to have armor, but he's not running Hound armor. So automatically, this makes me feel more confident in Mustangs being able to be successfully aggressive. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna do something that's pretty aggressive pushing forward here. We are Fire Badger Specialist as well. Let's go ahead and get like, we'll just do kind of like a shove here where maybe we do down one like this. Down one, down two from the side. So we come in at a slight angle so these guys don't engage so fast if he's like in the middle. It gives our crawlers more time to get in front of my hounds because we have like a second longer now before this particular hound gets in the fight because they were previously there, not there. So we'll go with this. We're trying to make the hounds are good at killing hounds or crawlers. Crawlers are good at killing whatever as long as there's something in tanking for them. And Mustangs are good at killing everything here because there's no armor. He also has Arclight, which also could have armor, but he does not run armor. So we're 2 for 2 right now on units that could have armor but don't. So our Mustangs, once again, could totally be... We could look at our Mustang and go, we could invest if we want to. All right, our opponent decided to quit. So, I mean, that was not a bad fight for them. We were winning the game pretty hard, right? I'm not going to say the game was over by any means. The game had plenty more rounds to go. But as an opener, we stacked up a brick of DPS, and it made sense, mostly. I would say it's a good idea. So let me say it like this. This is important that I feel like I want to explain, and this is a good opportunity to explain why I put stuff where I put it. There's two conditions I would say that are good for you to stack the front of your board. And one of those conditions is when your board is physically worse than your opponent. If you're like, oh, I have Mustang and Crawler as an opener, and my opponent opened up with Tarantula and Hounds or something, or Tarantula and Crawlers. Like, if your opponent just has something that's going to shut you down horribly, or they have, like, Arclight Sledgehammer, and you have Mustangs, and the Sledgehammers have armor on them. Like, it feels terrible. If you think your board is going to be awful in the engage, and you want to have, like, you want to try to overwhelm him if you can, if he's confident he's going to win, and he does a spread board formation, you can actually win those engagements if you pick the correct side, where he is not, where you get paralyzes off, or if you get only bits of his army in the fight and you can pick his tower off again. Because again, the focus there is you're trying to get the tower as a priority because you're not going to win a straight up head-on fight. If your opponent happens to play the same side of the board as you and you stack up, well, you're going to probably have a bad round one, but you were going to have a bad round one anyways if you spread out because your units are inferior to his for round one. So again, when you have an inferior board for starting units to your opponent and you physically can't, like, make that better, the better way to play it would be to stack it and avoid a direct fair fight. The second way now to play forward, in my opinion, that is like strong, is when you have an advantage now, but your army has lopsided speed values. So if I have Hounds and Mustangs as my DPS, Mustangs are going to be, if there's nothing in my opponent's army that is good versus Mustang, and nothing here is good because nothing here has armor, and nothing here will shoot Mustang first because Mustang have the highest range out of my army. As long as Mustangs aren't, like, if my army was back here and I did the same formation, it would give more time for me to have to run at him to engage, which would give me more time that my Mustang speed would be in effect. And that would be bad because it would make Mustangs drive in front of Hounds, while the Hounds are like, wait, hold on, we're trying to get out there. And the Mustangs would easily die to arc lights. So that could, and Hounds. So that could be really bad. But as long as the Mustangs are protected by crawlers, which is why I put crawlers slightly ahead of the Mustangs. You could even put them even slightly more ahead. You could put the Mustangs even further back if you wanted to. But I went for an engage here where the Mustangs are close, like they're close to the line. The Hounds are even closer to the line. If our opponent plays aggressive, which he did, Mustangs and Hounds all instantly stack up and do damage like right away. And it's not, move speed isn't going to matter because our opponent is going, like we're shooting instead of moving. So it allows the Mustangs to do optimal DPS really forward and aggressive and abuse the fact that his units don't have good upgrades versus Mustang. This is, again, this is when you notice you have an advantage, and the way you can tell you have an advantage is based on just an understanding of what upgrades make a unit bad and does your opponent have them. And our opponent does not have the upgrades that make Mustangs bad. So now Mustangs get a humongous aggressive potential if you play them forward and jump all over his army instantly with them. And as the crawlers are engaging, his Hounds are dying. Like, he's losing Hounds on the engage as my crawlers are starting to run in there because Mustangs outrange Hounds. Like, it's I can't guarantee he's going to be stacked up like this, but whatever is here is going to get run over. And he did stack up like this, and he even added Arclight, which is on paper good versus everything we have, but we physically have too much stuff that's going to shut down too much of his stuff too fast. Like, our positioning here is great because especially this specific location, this Hound, and this Mustang, that is so much DPS that overpowers one Hound. And then after the Hound's dead, which is going to be very fast, we can instantly jump on that Arclight and the Saber. Like, these things are going to be getting swarmed very quickly. And then again, the really nice thing too is Mustangs outrange Hounds. So the Hounds are going to be, these Hounds specifically for him, are going to be getting shot by our Mustangs before they even really, like, as the exchange happens, we're going to eat minimal damage off of the Hound trade. It's not like they're going to shoot each other to almost dead. These things are going to shoot like once and be dead. And then we're going to be moving on to the other units. And this is, again, this is the power of this. This is great for like up until your opponent has armor. And then when your opponent has armor, you're going to regret that Mustangs are this aggressive because they're going to get stuck on armor units really easily, really fast, unless they don't have armor. So, and then you could, if you really wanted to, you could always sell the Mustangs and trade into something else because you don't have to necessarily upgrade them either. It's just, and again, it's a situation where we had an advantage because we looked at upgrades. So that's something that can dictate an opener. And if you don't want to deal with paralyzes and you think your army is like solid, playing your towers and playing defensive, like between the towers or slightly around one tower, on like the left and the right side of it, whatever, stuff like that, that's also totally fine. But if you do play back, you always want to remember if you have units that are faster and units that are a little bit slower and units that are a lot faster, you want to make sure you leave ample amounts of space between them so you don't have things like, oh, Mustangs, by the time the Hounds are here, the Mustangs are already crossing the line. You don't want stuff like that to happen because that's how they die. That's how the unit gets compromised and it gets wasted and it's not good. And yeah, our opponent ended up quitting, so yeah, there wasn't too much more to talk about with that game. We'll play one more. That was officially it, but I'll play one more because that game was over way too fast.